Chapter 1: Shadows in the Morning. The morning was deceptive in its quiet stillness. The headquarters of the global medical firm Lifeline Crisis Response buzzed with the undertone of urgency. Nestled within a fortified building in Geneva, Switzerland, Lifeline specialized in high-risk medical extractions, a service both revered and controversial. Their focus? Rescuing individuals critically injured during criminal activities, whether fugitives or victims. Their creed was simple: life first, judgment later. Inside the operations room, a sprawling map of the world blinked with tiny red dots, each representing a critical situation unfolding somewhere across the globe. Calls streamed into the command center, operators frantically relaying details to the on-ground units. In the eye of the storm stood Dr. Emily Stone, the lead medical officer. Emily was in her early 40s, with piercing blue eyes and a commanding demeanor that belied her compassion. Her calm voice echoed through the room, effortlessly coordinating the chaos. Team Alpha, you're a go for extraction in Bogota. We have reports of crossfire. Protocol 2 is in effect. Confirm readiness, she said into her headset, pacing the room. On the other end of the call, her second-in-command, paramedic-turned-field agent Lucas Perez responded, ready and waiting. ETA to target 10 minutes. Lucas had been with Lifeline for 5 years and was known for his quick thinking under fire. He was a realist, often butting heads with the idealistic Emily. Yet, their dynamic had saved countless lives. The team for this mission included Zara, a former conflict zone nurse with a sharp tongue and a sharper wit, and Elijah Eli Kane, an ex-military pilot whose calm demeanor masked a past he rarely spoke about. Together, they formed a tight-knit unit, each grappling with their own reasons for being part of Lifeline. The helicopter's blades cut through the humid Bogota air. From above, the tangled streets revealed an almost artistic chaos. Vivid colors of street markets juxtaposed against the stark gray of smog and the cold steel glint of firearms. Emily's voice came through their comms. Target is Ramon Ortega. Injuries sustained during an attempted cartel deal gone wrong. Colombian authorities are closing in. He's unconscious but alive, and we've secured a brief ceasefire window negotiated through intermediaries. Let's not waste it. Eli guided the helicopter to a narrow alleyway rooftop, his voice calm over the chaos. Touching down, we've got about 20 minutes before this place turns into a war zone again. Lucas and Zara moved swiftly through the cramped spaces, carrying their equipment. The tension was palpable. Gunfire echoed faintly in the distance. They reached the target, a young man barely in his 20s crumpled on the ground, pale from blood loss. Zara knelt beside him, her practiced hands assessing his vitals. He's stable but critical. We need to move fast. He won't survive another hit. Lucas signaled to the extraction team. We're coming back with one. Keep the LZ clear. Back in Geneva, Emily monitored their vitals remotely, but her focus was momentarily pulled by an incoming call from the legal department. A stern voice on the line said, "Dr. Stone, this extraction is under review. We've received intel that Ortega's survival could escalate cartel operations. Our investors are concerned about liability." Emily's jaw tightened. Noted. But unless those investors are willing to replace me in the next 5 minutes, my decision stands. We're extracting him. She ended the call sharply, her frustration mounting. Bureaucracy was always a shadow looming over their missions, and it was a battle she fought daily. Lucas and Zara returned to the rooftop, where Eli had the helicopter ready for takeoff. But as they secured Ramon onto the stretcher, gunfire erupted from a nearby building. Zara ducked instinctively, while Lucas shielded Ramon with his body. "I thought we had a ceasefire." Zara yelled over the comms. Emily's voice came through. "Extraction compromised. Get out of there now." Eli lifted the helicopter just as bullets ricocheted off the metal. From the air, Bogota was a patchwork of danger and despair. As the city grew smaller beneath them, the team exhaled collectively. For now, they had cheated death. Back at headquarters, Ramon was rushed to the medical bay while the team regrouped in the debrief room. Eli sipped his coffee, quietly as Zara recounted the chaos. "We need better intel next time," she said, glaring at Lucas. "I'm not risking my neck for someone who might get me killed." Lucas smirked, unfazed. "And yet here you are, alive and complaining." Emily entered, her presence silencing the room. "Good work out there. Ramon is stable. Take a breath, you'll need it. The next mission comes sooner than you think." As the team dispersed, Zara caught Emily's gaze. "One of these days, we won't make it back." Emily nodded solemnly. "But until then, we keep going." The shadows of Bogota still lingered in the room, but laughter echoed faintly as the team shared a rare moment of levity. For a brief moment, they forgot the weight of their work and simply existed as flawed, resilient individuals bound by their shared purpose. Chapter 2: The Cairo Conundrum. The sun set ablaze the skyline of Cairo with hues of orange and pink, casting long shadows over the ancient city's labyrinthine streets. Within Lifeline's sleek and state-of-the-art Cairo base, the team prepared for their next mission. Unlike Bogota, this was a city steeped in centuries of history where the past and present collided in both beauty and chaos. Zara inspected her medical kit meticulously, her movements brisk but deliberate. "I'm not getting caught unprepared this time," she muttered, almost to herself. She looked up to see Lucas lounging in a chair, his boots propped on a nearby table. "Do you ever take anything seriously?" Lucas smirked. "I take survival seriously. You? You take worrying to an Olympic level." Before Zara could retort, Emily's voice cut through the room. "Focus team. We're heading into an active hostage situation near Giza. Target Lena Al-Farouk, a humanitarian worker caught in a crossfire during a high-profile kidnapping attempt. Injuries reported as critical." Eli stepped into the room, pulling on his aviator jacket. "We're heading to a desert site. Extraction's going to be tricky with limited visibility and hostile terrain." Emily nodded, her expression somber. "This one's personal, team. Lena is a close friend of one of our key medical donors. Failure is not an option." The helicopter ride over Cairo offered a breathtaking view of the city that quickly gave way to the sprawling sands of the desert. Below, a convoy of armed vehicles approached the crumbling ruins where Lena was being held. From the air, it was like peering into a tactical board game. Only this wasn't a game. "Hostiles identified," Lucas reported, squinting through his binoculars. "For vehicles heavily armed. Looks like they're preparing for transport." Eli's hands tightened on the controls. "We've got a 5-minute window, tops." The helicopter landed behind a low dune, masking their arrival. The team moved in, shadows blending with the terrain. Lucas took point, his movements fluid and calculated. Zara followed, carrying a portable defibrillator in one hand and an oxygen mask in the other. Behind them, Eli guarded the perimeter. They reached the site to find Lena propped against a stone pillar, her face pale and her breathing labored. Blood seeped through the makeshift bandages around her abdomen. "Pulse is weak," Zara whispered, kneeling beside her. "We need to stabilize her before we move." "Not much time," Lucas replied, his eyes scanning the horizon. The convoy had stopped, and figures were spilling out, weapons glinting in the setting sun. Zara worked quickly, her hands steady despite the growing tension. As she administered a blood coagulant, Lena stirred, her voice barely audible. They're coming back." At the headquarters in Geneva, Emily and the command team monitored the situation via satellite feeds. Static crackled through the comms as Eli's voice came through. "Complication. Hostiles are regrouping faster than expected. We're going to need a diversion." Emily's mind raced. "Deploy the drone. Use it to create a sandstorm and buy them time." The drone operator initiated the sequence, and moments later, a cloud of swirling sand erupted near the convoy. The hostile group scattered, temporarily blinded by the artificial storm. "Go, go, go!" Eli's voice urged. Lucas and Zara hoisted Lena onto a stretcher and began the arduous trek back to the helicopter. Every step felt like an eternity, the weight of the moment pressing down on them. As the helicopter ascended, the sandstorm still raged below. From their vantage point, the chaos seemed almost surreal, like a scene from film. Lena lay on the stretcher, her condition stable but precarious. Eli glanced back from the cockpit. We're not out of the woods yet. Cairo traffic controls reporting unfriendly airspace. Just get us back alive. Lucas muttered, leaning against the wall, exhaustion etched on his face. Back at the Cairo base, the team worked through the night to ensure Lena's survival. Emily arrived hours later, her face a mix of relief and exhaustion. Zara was still by Lena's side, her dedication unwavering. You did good, Emily said softly, placing a hand on Zara's shoulder. We'll debrief in the morning. As the team gathered in the lounge, Eli popped open a bottle of cheap local wine. To surviving another day, he said, raising a glass. Lucas smirked, clinking glasses with Zara. And to Zara for not letting me die. Zara rolled her eyes but couldn't hide the hint of a smile. Don't get used to it. For now, amidst the laughter and camaraderie, the weight of their mission lifted, even if only for a moment. Chapter 3. The Shadows of Sierra Leone. The team barely had a moment to breathe before the next mission. The briefing room, dimly lit and bustling with activity, felt like the calm before a storm. The upcoming operation was set in Sierra Leone, where a diamond smuggling deal had turned into a bloody firefight. The target was Kelvin Munsah, a suspected smuggler critically injured during the clash. Reports suggested he was the key to unraveling a significant trafficking network, adding layers of tension to an already complex extraction. Emily stood at the head of the table, her presence commanding. This mission is high stakes. Munsah's injuries make him a life or death case, but this isn't just about saving a life. We'll be extracting from an active combat zone, and hostilities are ongoing. We proceed with extreme caution. Zara crossed her arms, her tone skeptical. And how exactly are we supposed to do that when there are armed mercenaries on site? Are they just going to wave and let us through? Lucas leaned back in his chair, a wry smile playing on his lips. Relax, Zara. They love us, until they don't. Before she could retort, Emily's voice cut through. Focus. Eli, what's the plan for getting in and out? Eli tapped a map displayed on the screen. There's a clearing just south of the firefight. It's a rough landing, but it's our best shot. We'll have a 10-minute window, max, before we attract attention. Lucas and Zara will stabilize and extract Munsah, while I keep the chopper ready for a hasty exit. Emily nodded. Good. Lucas, Zara, this is a tightrope mission. No room for error. The helicopter cut through the humid Sierra Leonean sky, the jungle below a dense expanse of green interspersed with rivers snaking like veins. The crackling of gunfire grew louder as they neared the clearing. Eli's voice was steady over the comms. Approaching the LZ. This is going to be bumpy. True to his word, the landing was rough, the helicopter skidding slightly as it settled onto the uneven ground. Lucas and Zara jumped out, their gear strapped tightly. The sounds of the firefight echoed ominously nearby. They found Kelvin Munsah slumped against a tree, his breathing shallow and his shirt soaked in blood. Zara crouched beside him, her fingers deftly assessing his wounds. Gunshot to the abdomen, possible internal bleeding. He's critical but savable if we move fast. Lucas scanned the area, his senses on high alert. Make it quick. We've got company. In the distance, shadows move through the jungle, the mercenaries likely drawn by the noise of the landing. Zara worked rapidly, administering a coagulant and securing Munsah onto a stretcher. Done. Let's move. The trek back to the helicopter was a tense ordeal. The jungle seemed to close in around them, every rustle of leaves a potential threat. As they reached the clearing, a shot rang out, narrowly missing Zara. Lucas fired back, his aim precise. Go, go, go! They loaded Munsah onto the helicopter, and Eli wasted no time lifting off. Bullets zipped past, one striking the side of the chopper, but causing no critical damage. From the air, the firefight below looked like chaos incarnate, flashes of gunfire and figures darting through the trees. Back at headquarters, Emily monitored the mission in real time, her heart pounding despite her her composed exterior. The tension lifted only slightly when the helicopter's signal indicated it had cleared the danger zone. She let out a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. When the team arrived back, Munsa was rushed to the medical bay. The debrief room was filled with a subdued energy. Lucas reclined in a chair, exhaustion evident on his face. "Remind me why we do this again?" Zara, unusually quiet, poured herself a cup of coffee. "Because we're the only ones who can." Emily entered, her gaze sweeping over her team. "You did well. Munsa is stable, and the intel he provides could save hundreds of lives. Take a moment to regroup. We'll need it." As the team shared a quiet moment of camaraderie, the gravity of their work hung heavy in the air. They laughed, albeit softly, finding solace in each other's presence. For now, it was enough. Chapter 4, Chaos in Mumbai. Mumbai, the city that never sleeps, was a far cry from the jungles of Sierra Leone or the deserts of Cairo. But its sprawling labyrinth of streets, overcrowded trains, and vibrant chaos held its own challenges. The team barely had time to process the Sierra Leone mission when Emily called them into the briefing room. "All right, team," she began, the weariness in her voice masked by her usual determination. "Our target is Dr. Arjun Patel, a cardiologist attending a medical conference at the Taj Mahal Palace Hotel. During an attack by a terrorist faction, he sustained critical injuries while protecting several attendees." Zara tilted her head, eyebrows raised. "A doctor protecting others? Sounds noble, but what's the catch?" Emily pressed a button, and a grainy surveillance video played. It showed a wounded Dr. Patel being taken hostage by a masked group. "The group is holding him as leverage. We've negotiated a narrow window to retrieve him before they relocate. Our priority is his life, but the situation is volatile." Lucas leaned back, his tone skeptical. "Mumbai, crowded streets, high-density population, and a heavily guarded target. This isn't a rescue, it's a puzzle." Eli chimed in from his usual corner. "The skies are friendly, but the landing zones aren't. I'll need to touch down on Marine Drive. Tight, but doable." As the helicopter approached Mumbai, the city unfolded like a breathing organism, lights twinkling in rhythm, skyscrapers rising against the dark sky, and the Arabian Sea reflecting the chaos. The target zone, however, was a stark contrast. Smoke billowed from the vicinity of the hotel, emergency vehicles formed a perimeter, and crowds spilled into the streets. Eli maneuvered the helicopter onto Marine Drive, the seaside promenade known for its bustling crowds. "Touchdown in 30 seconds. Get in, get out, and don't get killed," he quipped. Lucas and Zara disembarked swiftly, their gear packed tight. The air was thick with smoke and tension as they approached the hotel through a back entrance. Inside, the grandeur of the hotel was marred by overturned furniture, shattered glass, and the distant sounds of shouting. "Stay close," Lucas muttered, leading the way with his firearm at the ready. They found Dr. Patel in a makeshift holding area, pale and barely conscious. Zara rushed to his side, her hands moving methodically. "Gunshot wound to the chest, fractured rib. He's critical, but we can stabilize him." Lucas glanced at the entrance. "We've got company. Hurry." Back at headquarters, Emily monitored the team's progress, her fingers tapping anxiously on the desk. The situation escalated when the perimeter breached and hostile operatives closed in. Emily, an operator, called out, "We're picking up increased chatter. Reinforcements are on the way to the hotel." Emily grabbed the comms. "Lucas, you're about to have a full-blown standoff. Extract now." Lucas and Zara carried Dr. Patel through the smoke-filled corridors, their movements synchronized by urgency. As they exited the building, shots rang out. Lucas returned fire while Zara shielded Dr. Patel with her body. "Move, move, move!" Lucas shouted. They reached the helicopter, and Eli wasted no time lifting off. From the air, the city looked both beautiful and chaotic, a stark reminder of the complexity of their missions. Back at the base, Dr. Patel was stabilized in the medical bay. The team sat in the lounge, the adrenaline still coursing through their veins. Zara stared into her coffee cup, her usual sharpness replaced by quiet introspection. "Something on your mind?" Lucas asked, breaking the silence. Zara looked up, her eyes tired but resolute. Just wondering how long we can keep this up. Lucas smirked, long enough to make a difference. Emily entered, her expression softening as she looked at her team. You did good tonight. Dr. Patel is alive because of you. Rest while you can. For a brief moment, amidst the laughter and exhaustion, the team found solace in each other's presence. The weight of their work was heavy, but so was their resolve. Chapter 5, Fractures in Rio. The Atlantic breeze swept through the sunlit streets of Rio de Janeiro, carrying with it the sound of samba music and the laughter of beachgoers. But in the heart of the city, far from the lively coastline of Copacabana, the team from Lifeline Crisis Response faced a much darker scene. Their new mission had brought them to the favelas, a maze of narrow alleyways perched precariously on the steep hills surrounding Rio. This time, the target was not a criminal, but an innocent child caught in the crossfire. 8-year-old Sofia Almeida had been playing outside when a local gang fight erupted. She had sustained a severe injury to her leg, and local clinics were either unable or unwilling to treat her for fear of retaliation. The clock was ticking, and Sofia's life hung in the balance. In the Geneva Command Center, Emily's voice carried a sharp urgency. This mission is unlike anything we've faced so far. You'll be navigating through one of the most densely populated and dangerous areas in the world. The gangs don't take kindly to outsiders, especially ones trying to disrupt their territory. Use discretion and prioritize safety. Lucas chuckled dryly as he prepared his gear. Discretion in a favela? That's like asking a bull to tiptoe through a china shop. Zara shot him a glare. This isn't a joke, Lucas. A child's life is at stake. Eli, ever the steady presence, interrupted the brewing argument. Let's keep our focus. I've secured clearance to land at a helipad near the edge of the favela. We'll have to go in on foot. Emily nodded, her voice softer but no less firm. Be careful out there. And bring her back. The helicopter approached Rio's hills, the vibrant colors of the favelas coming into view, a patchwork of reds, yellows, and blues. But beneath the picturesque surface lay the simmering tension of a community divided by crime and poverty. Eli landed the helicopter at a small makeshift helipad, its surface cracked and barely large enough to accommodate the chopper. Lucas and Zara disembarked, their equipment strapped tightly to their backs. The air was thick with heat and a sense of unease. A local contact, a community leader named Miguel, greeted them. His lined face and tired eyes spoke of years spent trying to protect his neighborhood from the violence that plagued it. Follow me, Miguel said, his voice low. Sofia's family is waiting, but the gangs are watching. We need to move quickly. Navigating the narrow alleys was a disorienting experience. The walls were painted with vibrant murals that seemed out of place amidst the lingering shadows of danger. Children peeked curiously from doorways, while adults avoided eye contact, their faces etched with caution. They reached Sofia's home, a small brick structure with a corrugated metal roof. Inside, Sofia lay on a worn mattress, her face pale and her breathing shallow. Her mother hovered nearby, tears streaming down her face. Zara knelt beside the girl, her voice soft but steady. Hi, Sofia. My name is Zara. We're here to help you, okay? Sofia's eyes fluttered open, a faint spark of hope replacing the fear. Lucas stood by the door, his hand resting on his firearm, ever watchful. Zara assessed the injury, a deep laceration to Sofia's thigh, likely from shrapnel. The wound was infected and time was running out. She worked quickly, cleaning the wound and administering antibiotics while Miguel kept watch outside. But the moment of calm shattered when the sound of approaching footsteps echoed through the alleyway. Miguel rushed inside, his face pale. They're coming. The gang. You need to leave now. Back at headquarters, Emily monitored the situation with bated breath. The live feed from their body cams showed the tension unfolding in real time. Eli, she said into her headset, prepare for immediate extraction. They're about to have company. Already on it, Eli replied, his calm demeanor a stark contrast to the chaos. Zara finished stabilizing Sofia, wrapping her leg in a makeshift splint. "She's ready to move," she said, her voice firm despite the rising tension. Lucas carried Sophia in his arms as they exited the house, the narrow alleys feeling even tighter as the distant sound of shouting grew louder. Miguel led the way, navigating the maze-like paths with practiced ease. They reached an open area near the helipad just as the gang members came into view, their weapons glinting ominously in the sunlight. Lucas handed Sophia to Zara and turned to face the approaching group, his stance defensive. "Go," he said sharply. "I'll hold them off." "No way," Zara snapped. "We all go together." But there was no time to argue. Eli descended with the helicopter, the downdraft scattering dust and debris. Lucas fired a warning shot into the air, startling the gang members just long enough for Zara and Miguel to get Sophia safely aboard. Lucas climbed in moments later, the tension finally breaking as the helicopter lifted off. Below them, the favela receded into the distance, its vibrant colors masking the danger that lay within. Back at the base, Sophia was rushed to the medical bay, where doctors assured her terrified mother that she would make a full recovery. The team gathered in the lounge, the weight of the mission still heavy on their shoulders. Zara sat in silence, staring out the window. Lucas approached, his usual smirk replaced by a rare moment of sincerity. "She's alive because of you," he said quietly. Zara nodded, her expression softening. "Because of us." Emily entered, her presence bringing a sense of closure. "Another life saved. You did well. Rest up, we've got more ahead." As the team shared a quiet moment, the sound of Sophia's laughter from the medical bay drifted through the base, a poignant reminder of why they did what they did. For now, it was enough. Chapter 6, Turmoil in Bangkok. The humid air of Bangkok, filled with the aroma of street food and the constant hum of motorbikes, painted a stark contrast to the tense atmosphere of the mission. Nestled within the labyrinth of bustling streets and looming skyscrapers was a high-profile case, an international journalist named Leah Watkins. While working undercover on a story about corruption, she had been caught in a violent altercation and sustained serious injuries. Lifeline crisis response was her last hope. Emily stood before the team, her expression serious but composed. "This mission is complicated by local politics. Leah is seen as a threat to certain influential groups, so this isn't just a medical rescue. Her life and her work are at risk. Let's stay sharp." Lucas raised an eyebrow. "So, we're saving someone who probably has a bounty on her head? Sounds like fun." Zara shot him a warning glance. "This isn't a game, Lucas. We're talking about saving someone who risked everything for the truth." Eli interjected, keeping the peace. "Let's focus on what we do best, getting in and out without complications." As the helicopter soared over the neon-lit skyline of Bangkok, the mission's gravity settled over the team. Eli expertly navigated through the maze of tall buildings and erratic traffic, eventually landing on a secluded rooftop near the safe house where Leah was last seen. The streets below were a chaotic blend of street vendors, tourists, and locals, but the danger lurked in the shadows. The team moved swiftly, blending into the crowd as they approached the safe house. Inside the dimly lit room, Leah Watkins lay on a makeshift bed, her breathing labored. Blood stained her clothes, and her pale complexion hinted at how severe her condition was. Zara immediately got to work, her hands moving with precision and urgency. "Internal injuries, possible broken ribs," Zara murmured, assessing Leah's condition. "We need to stabilize her before transport." Lucas stood watch near the entrance, his eyes scanning for any signs of trouble. The tension was palpable as every shadow seemed to carry a threat. In the Geneva Command Center, Emily monitored the situation, her fingers tight on the edge of the desk. The local authorities were closing in, and time was running out. "Eli," she said into her headset, "the airspace is becoming increasingly restricted. You've got 10 minutes, max." The team carried Leah onto a stretcher, navigating the crowded streets with practiced urgency. The narrow alleys and endless throngs of people made the journey feel like an obstacle course. As they reached the rooftop, the distant sound of sirens grew louder. Eli powered up the helicopter, the blades cutting through the night air. "Let's move, people," he called, his voice steady despite the chaos. Just as the team loaded Leah aboard, a group of men in dark suits appeared on the rooftop, their intentions clear. Lucas stepped forward, his posture calm but commanding. "Not today," he muttered, effectively deterring them with his presence as the helicopter lifted off. Back at headquarters, Leah was stabilized in the medical bay, her recovery a testament to the team's skill and determination. Emily gathered the group in the lounge, her expression one of quiet pride. "You went above and beyond tonight," she said, her voice steady. "Because of you, Leah has a second chance, not just to live, but to share her story." As the team shared a rare moment of relaxation, the neon lights of Bangkok faded into memory. They knew their work was far from over. But for now, they found strength in each other and the lives they saved. Chapter 7, The Abyss in Johannesburg. The city of Johannesburg, known for its vibrant energy and historical significance, now stood under the veil of an unsettling night. The team was dispatched here for what had become their most dangerous mission, yet a high-stakes extraction involving multiple moving pieces, each laced with complexities that tested every ounce of their collective expertise. Their target this time was Noah Kazili, a whistleblower who had exposed a major corporate scandal involving illegal mining operations. He was badly injured while evading pursuit from private security forces whose loyalty lay with the corporation he had exposed. His life wasn't the only thing at risk. His information held the power to dismantle a web of corruption. Emily convened the team before takeoff, her tone sharp and unyielding. "This mission is critical. Noah's information can save lives and uncover truths hidden in plain sight. We're not just extracting a person, we're securing justice. But the terrain is hostile, and this won't be easy." Lucas leaned against the wall, arms crossed. Hostile terrain, hostile people, sounds like a regular Tuesday. Zara shot him a side glance, her voice laced with irritation. "If you're done auditioning for the role of comic relief, maybe we can focus." Eli interrupted before the tension could escalate. "Let's keep our heads in the game, folks. Johannesburg is no joke, and we'll need everyone sharp." As the helicopter approached the outskirts of Johannesburg, the golden lights of the sprawling city glittered like treasure against the vast darkness of the surrounding plains. But their focus was on the industrial zone where Noah had been tracked. The setting, a tangled maze of abandoned factories and narrow alleys, posed its own challenges. Eli maneuvered the helicopter to a secluded rooftop near the extraction point. "We're in position. Keep comms open and don't take unnecessary risks," he said, his calm tone steadying the team. Lucas and Zara moved quickly through the eerie silence of the industrial zone, their footsteps echoing faintly against the crumbling walls. They found Noah in a narrow basement, slumped against a support beam. His leg was splinted with crude materials, and his face was pale with pain. Zara knelt beside him, her hands moving with practiced efficiency. "Compound fracture, blood loss, likely infection. We need to move now," she said, looking up at Lucas. Noah stirred weakly, his voice barely a whisper. They're coming back?" Back at the Geneva Command Center, Emily's voice came through the comms. "Lucas, you've got reinforcements inbound on your location. ETA, 3 minutes. Get out of there." Lucas lifted Noah onto a stretcher, Zara following closely as they navigated the maze-like alleys. Shadows moved in the distance, and the air grew heavy with impending confrontation. As they reached the rooftop, the reinforcements appeared, armed and determined. A shot rang out, and Lucas instinctively turned to shield Zara and Noah. "Go!" he barked, his tone leaving no room for argument. Eli descended rapidly with the helicopter, the sound of the rotors drowning out the chaos below. Zara and Lucas hauled Noah aboard, their movements fueled by adrenaline. The helicopter lifted off just as the reinforcements closed in, their figures shrinking into the chaos below. The flight back to safety was silent, each team member processing the intensity of the mission. Back at headquarters, Noah was stabilized in a medical bay, his information immediately secured and encrypted. The team regrouped in the lounge, exhaustion etched into their faces. Lucas broke the silence with a wry smile. That wasn't so bad. Zara rolled her eyes, but a small smile crept onto her lips. Speak for yourself. Some of us had to do actual work. Emily entered, her expression a mix of relief and pride. Noah is safe, and his information is already making waves. You've done something extraordinary tonight. Rest up. We'll need every bit of strength for what's next. For now, amidst the laughter and exhaustion, the team found solace in their unity. They had faced the abyss and emerged victorious, their purpose stronger than ever. Chapter 8, The Bonds That Unite. The Lifeline headquarters was unusually quiet the morning after the Johannesburg mission. The team gathered around the operations room, their exhaustion visible. But a shared sense of accomplishment lingered in the air. They had faced extreme odds over the past weeks, urban firefights, hostile negotiations, and emotional roller coasters. Yet, here they were, still standing and stronger together. Emily entered, her usual composed demeanor softened by a rare smile. I've called you all here because, for once, we don't have a mission to deploy immediately. Consider today a chance to rest, reflect, and most importantly, reconnect as a team. Lucas raised an eyebrow. No fires to put out? No chaos to dive into? Are we sure we're in the right place? Zara smirked, the tension of past missions seemingly melting away. Maybe the universe decided we deserved a break. Even chaos has to take a day off. Eli chuckled from the corner, lifting his coffee cup in a mock toast, to chaos taking a vacation. The room erupted in rare laughter, a lightness filling the space. For the first time in weeks, the weight of their work seemed to ease. Later that day, the team gathered in the recreational lounge, a space they rarely had the luxury to use. Emily brought out a bottle of champagne, a gift from one of their grateful beneficiaries. I've been saving this for a special moment, she said, pouring glasses for everyone. And I think this qualifies. Zara held up her glass, her voice steady but full of emotion. Here's to the lives we've saved, the battles we've fought, and the bonds we've built. We may not always agree, and we certainly don't have it easy, but we make a damn good team. The group clinked glasses, the sound echoing like a quiet victory bell. As the day unfolded, they shared stories, some funny, some heartbreaking. Lucas recounted a particularly absurd negotiation in the Amazon jungle involving a parrot that wouldn't stop squawking in the background. Zara teased him mercilessly, her laugh infectious. Eli shared a rare glimpse into his past, talking about the missions he had flown as a military pilot and how those experiences had shaped his calm under pressure. The team listened intently, their respect for him deepening. Emily opened up about her reasons for joining Lifeline, admitting that her dedication stemmed from a personal loss she rarely spoke of. Her vulnerability brought a solemn moment to the group, but it also strengthened their understanding of each other. As the evening turned into night, the team sat outside on the terrace, the Geneva skyline twinkling like stars. They looked out over the city, each lost in their thoughts but comforted by the presence of one another. Lucas broke the silence. For all the insanity we go through, I wouldn't trade this for anything. What we do, it matters. Even when it feels like the world is against us, we're out there making a difference. Zara nodded, her voice soft but resolute. And we're doing it together. That's what makes it worth it. Emily raised her glass one last time. To the next mission, whatever it may be, and to the team that makes it possible. The night ended with laughter, camaraderie, and a renewed sense of purpose. They didn't know what challenges lay ahead, but for now, they were ready. Together, they could face anything.